Hey everyone, welcome back. Um, Today is just gonna be a short video. I'm really just gonna rehash what I did kind of naturally yesterday, just kind of uh just expound on that and just speak it out again. I might try to learn and push past where I started yesterday, but I don't think I'm going to. It's been kind of a really hectic day for me. So I think I just want to take this time to just look at it and rehash it for myself and we'll just record that and see how it goes. So let me open up a browser really quickly. Mr. GPT, Mr. Helpful Son. Data science interview prep. I was actually thinking about making a video out of this because I had an interview. Um, but I decided against it. Maybe someday in the future, right? So, what are eigenvalues and eigenvectors? So, I went down a couple of different rabbit holes. Not rabbit holes, but I was just Googling things and understanding things. And essentially, a vector that is an eigenvector is when a linear transformation is applied to that vector. The result is just a scaled version of that same vector, where the scalar is the eigenvalue, essentially. That's essentially what it is, right? Let me pull up my tabs from, yeah, 3B, 1B. It's funny. Yeah, so this was me. Oh, anyways, I don't know how I opened up this new thing. But yeah, essentially, it needs to be a square matrix for it to have eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Why? I'm not gonna read this. I'm gonna try and remember it. It's essentially because for it to have an eigenvalue or an eigenvector, the mm, the concept of it is essentially tied to linear transformations that map a vector onto itself. And if the matrix shape does not match up with these vectors, then it's just not feasible, right? Actually, I'm not 100% sure on that. Eigenvalue properties that are defined for linear transformations from a vector space to itself, which is only possible with square matrices, right? Yeah, we were pushing into the characteristic equation, right? Which is for it, for the characteristic polynomial, the roots of that polynomial is the eigenvalue itself. That's where I was looking up into this, and that's where I tapped out. Still need to spend some time thinking about this. I need to spend a lot of time thinking about this. Yeah, this is a filler video. Honestly, I want to read and engage, but it's like 1 a.m. right now. I'm super exhausted. But basically just rehashing this for me about what linear maps were, linear transformations are, the fact that essentially an eigenvector is just a vector that when applied, oh, sorry, no, an eigenvector is not just a vector. An eigenvector of a particular matrix, which is also a particular linear transformation, um, at when that transformation is applied to that vector, the eigenvector, the result is just that same vector scaled by the eigenvalue. Where did this name come from? You know what? Fuck it. Why are eigenvalues called eigenvalues? Wonder if there's like a naming thing. My internet's been acting up, so it's taking a little while to load, but hopefully it'll be there soon. Let's see. Oh, because it's the German word for eigen, meaning your own or characteristic. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like poetically makes sense because it's like the eigenvector essentially maps onto itself, right? Once applied with that linear transformation and it's scaled and all that. But yeah. Anyways, this is a super filler video. I didn't want to break the streak even though I was tired and didn't have the best day. Thank you all for watching this. Probably not watching this, honestly. This is a pretty bad video. But sometimes you just got to keep the ball rolling. That's I think thing I'll say in general to anyone who's watching. Just always keep the ball rolling, you know? You'll have days where it's not perfect, right? Like there's that 2 minute rule. I forget the guy who did it. The Atomic Habits, that book, the person who wrote that book. I think it's James Clear. I forget. But there's like a really popular thing is like, oh, start with doing something for 2 minutes every day. Like do it the smallest version of that. Like if you want to be the guy who goes on a run every day, start by putting on your running shoes, and that should be your only goal, right? And that's fine and dandy when you're starting something that you literally don't know anything about. But when you're in an intermediate stage like I am, honestly, with data science, I think that really fails because you just like start doing, if you make that the goal of doing like the 2 minutes or whatever, and then it's easy to be like, well, that didn't really accomplish anything, right? It's your brain already knows, like, I did not accomplish anything, right? So I think in those times, it's like good to be like, okay, what can I reasonably actually do? Um, I can set aside like 30 minutes for a day. Okay, 30 minutes, that's a start, right? So have that, right? But make that the floor. Make that the floor. Because usually when you have this, when you start on any sort of journey, you have like a few days where you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. And or at least for me, I shouldn't say you, this may not apply to you. This definitely applies to me or in my past, where I'd be like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is going to be the thing, right? And I'll stick with it for a while, and I'll even stick for it for longer than that. For like, I think my last was like 3, 4 months, something like that. Um, and I feel the issue of time boxing something you find important and want to actually progress on and say like I need to do this much every day is problematic because then you do exactly that much, right? And eventually you feel like you're not accomplishing enough in that time. So what's a better framework is to say I need to do, instead of saying I need to do this much, you need to say I need to do at least this much, right? That all hell breaks loose, everything has gone to shit. You need to do just that much to make sure the ball keeps rolling so that you don't feel like complete ass the next day, Because then when you have that feeling of like, ah, man, that's easy to spiral. And I mean, sometimes it won't be perfect. Sometimes you won't even be able to keep the ball rolling. And I'm sure that'll happen. But if you have kept the ball rolling enough times before that really, really terrible time in your life or thing happens or whatever, or even if it's not terrible and you're just like incredibly drained for whatever other reason, because you've made that bare minimum expectation of yourself and you stuck to it for so long that even when you have a break, it's like this is not the end. You know, like you've done like poor quality work and just put it out there because it was the bare minimum thing that you told yourself you would do. And like, okay, I didn't meet that, but that wouldn't have done much other than keeping the ball rolling. So I might as well just get back on the horse and keep it going, right? That's where this framework becomes really useful, I feel, right? There is such a thing as doing the bare minimum and, making sure you do it. Yeah. Anyways, that's my little piffy little thing. This is me embracing filler content, I guess. I guess I'm an anime now. Yeah. All right. Deuces. Hope y'all have a great one. Take care. Bye bye.